Okay, before I create myself as a joke, I think we are definitely live now. So, hi all, welcome to the All About FPL podcast. That's episode 8, and we are back for the second half of the Premier League that's post the World Cup. So, quickly, the World Cup is also done, right? At the start, you were talking that there will be World Cup after that. There's going to be another part of the season. World Cup is done and dusted. Now we are back to the second half of the season with the Boxing Day games kicking off on Monday, and then the sprint begins, right? All the League Cup games, FA Cup games, Champions League, everything is going to be doubled up in this next few months, and let's see how things go on. Before I get started, how was the break, guys, for a month? Enjoyed World Cup fantasy if you played?
Uh, Not very seriously. I was there. I think I started playing when I started liking the World Cup, right? So I ended up with something, around 2 lakhs or 1.5 lakhs, something around that. But first couple of rounds, I hardly played. I still don't know the rules. I don't think I used all the chips, but I enjoyed the World Cup. I mean, I seriously did not think that we will get so much engaged, right? But as the fixtures kept happening, the you know upsets kept coming. It kept more and got us more and more involved. And what a way to end it, right?
Yes. Suresh is completely smiling. He's nodding. I think he's
No,
not
no.
played, that's why.
I'm half wondering
Exactly.
whether it's an Argentina T-shirt
I
or a
didn't.
T-shirt.
I didn't even go to the side of World Cup fantasy. I read a couple of tweets or something that the game rules and the entire
Hmm.
site is messed up and all that. I thought, okay, I'll take a break from everything from fantasy. I'll just enjoy the games. And World Cup was phenomenal. Some it is something fantastic uh, this time around. It was truly incredible. I was like enjoying each and every match. And yeah, as Sankalp mentioned, what a finale. What a way to end it. Incredible.
Yes, incredible indeed. It was one of the best finals that we've probably seen over the last few World Cup editions. Nevertheless, yes, World Cup fantasy, the rules itself was jumbled up with wildcard and all the chips here and there. At least their site didn't crash, unlike FPL once during the deadline, so which was fine. I played it semi-serious, semi-casually, just for the sake of picking players I did, and I ended up around 50k or something. But that's at least
Nice.
decent.
So
But nevertheless, I don't want to,
bring some
talk
confidence
more on
into
that.
FPL.
Yeah, let's see hopefully what happens. These three poster boys right up on our screen. Let's see what things go on with the drafts
Oh,
and all.
I missed it that you have sneaked in a different guy at the,
Ah,
in the
he,
third
he
place.
asked
Okay,
to
this
do it.
is interesting.
I
Suresh is
mean,
very
there's
happy.
going to be there's going to be a lot of debates on that. It's going to be interesting chat on the person number three. Let's see.
Yeah. So these are going to be basically our talking points. What we're going to cover, basically the things that we need to remember before we create our drafts and teams, players to consider position wise quickly with our drafts. Looking at the fixtures from game week 17 to 23, as we have a couple of double game weeks in between, and looking at the current template draft that's floating around Twitter and our drafts, and winding up with their questions here and there. So let's get straight away started to what is right up in front of us. That these are the double game week fixtures that are confirmed. The one in 20 is depending all on the FA Cup replay, whether it happens or not, whether they go through without a draw. And the 19 and 23 is basically confirmed at this point.
Yeah.
So with these, I think there are a couple of other doubles that could be added in the mix as far as what I saw
Yeah, I
in the
was
morning from Ben
about to
Crellin.
touch on that. Yeah,
Yeah, so
there is
Suresh,
a possibility of game week 21 double as well for Brighton. It could be Brighton versus Crystal Palace and the Brighton versus Newcastle game, or there is a slight possibility of a triple game week as well for Brighton. So that's as per Ben Crellin's speech that we happened to read this morning. So there could be another mini double game week in 21 as well. So keep your eyes open on that. So that's going to be interesting how things pan out. We could fetch some interesting Brighton players from there. From their goalkeeper defense up to their midfielders like Trossard.
sorry, I'm laughing because Suresh said interesting Brighton players, and I just remembered
Hey,
Surya and Trossard for a second.
oh,
So
that way, yeah. Yeah, and who knows? There's so much buzz about McAllister as well. You know,
He comes back late, right? So you don't
yeah, he
start him.
comes back later. By game week 21, probably he should be getting him back some minutes and stuff. And the manager has touched upon what sort of position that he wants to play in. Or if he wants to play a little more attacking role, or he wants to play a deeper role, and all that stuff. But he carries in a lot of confidence with whatever he has done in the World Cup. So that is an added advantage. So keep your eyes open for game week 21. There's a possibility of another double.
And just to add, I think there's a possibility that Bournemouth also gets something. It gets a double somewhere, right? I've not sat down and analyzed,
Same
but
in 21.
yeah, in 21, I heard about Bournemouth and Solanke again. Player that we were kind of debating, discussing. Some of us went late and again went out of him. But looking at a lot of three forward squads now in the wildcard, obviously we'll discuss, and some of these names will keep coming up. Right, Undas from Brighton again. The coach spoke about him. The other guys are injured and he has a chance. Right, so some of these cheap guys, I think we'll be speaking about them in today's pod or maybe in the coming weeks.
Yes, yes, indeed. So these are the fixtures, the confirmed ones so far. And the next thing that everybody needs to keep an eye on is obviously the suspension tightrope that they're prominent. The first name right up is Alexander Mitrovic, and people are looking to get him in as they have a double. And things have gone sideways most of the time with Mitrovic. Again, this season, like he was on fire at the start, and then with his injury here and there, and then people started to get upset that this is the same cycle is happening again, like over the previous seasons and all. Harry Kane is also on 4, Saliba is on 4, Fabian Schär, Saka, Trippier, Shaw, Cancelo, White. All
Yeah.
probably these are some of the the names that I've picked out who are people will generally pick.
So, how long does it last? So, there's a game week, right? After which it gets reset. Do you guys
Yeah,
know?
so for some of the sites, if you check out our blog,
Yeah.
we have mentioned it in detail. So for some teams it resets in game week 20, and for some in 21. So for United and all, it resets in game week 21 because they've not played 2 games, while I think the others have missed out of one fixture. So just need to check out. It's mentioned in
Yeah,
our blog.
technically 19 games, I believe.
Yes.
Whenever they complete their 19th game, that's
Okay.
when it get extends to 10 yellow cards after that. So I think Mitrovic and Saliba, as Aditya mentioned, Mitrovic and Saliba is something which is really crucial. Mitrovic most likely people are considering. Saliba probably given the Arsenal's defensive stability, people would like to add down the line. They have a double
He
game
was
week as
progress
well.
prior to wildcard,
Yeah,
prior to
yeah,
the World Cup.
exactly. Yeah.
Harry
And
Kane
so,
as well. I mean, I was very surprised to see his name here. Right. I had
yeah,
him like.
but I don't think most would consider to pick Harry Kane at this point of time. Given the double game weeks around for multiple other teams, I don't think Harry Kane is much of a concern or anyone going near Harry Kane. But he has been consistent throughout the season or the first half of the season. That's for sure.
Very strong.
Let's see. Yeah.
I mean, those are one of the few good decisions that I've done. But fairly, strong season so far.
Right. And even on the ones on the three yellow cards also would be crucial, for someone like Ben White or Cancelo. Cancelo, of course, it goes without a saying that it is like a most nailed on player in many of our teams. But imagine given that the double game week is down the line in a couple of weeks, if he picks up one or two yellow cards, then you're screwed.
I have like three of these defenders, right? I'm sure there'll be people with four, right? So you
Yeah,
can also,
hopefully,
cross.
they complete their 19th game or so.
You
Yes.
won't want to take hits, right? Just to take out two or three of your defenders who are not playing suddenly.
Yep.
So we never know, right? Sometimes we have this stupid bookings towards the end where they just for a decent they get booked. And you're like, why, man? Just one game you were away. Why did you get booked now? And that happens. Like we never know. It's not
I,
able
I
to
I
go.
remember I took a hit to bring in Diogo Dalot, and he took that fifth yellow card.
Right.
Anyways, so we're done with this. Next, we'll move on to the fixtures. Like, what are we going to see? So this is prominently Game Week 17 because that's what we are looking at.
Yeah.
Uh, that's what we are approaching next. I mean, so obviously these are the fixtures. I have not even seen them so far. I'm going live straight away because I've been looking at more at the double game weeks and at the longer run. So Brentford
Brentford
plays
Spurs.
Spurs. That's the first game,
I
and
mean,
then
one
obviously,
player that I think we missed talking about is Ivan Tony, right? And the number of
Oh
updates
yeah,
gotten.
that is a different story itself. So
yeah,
So
yeah. Probably it is worthwhile mentioning as Sankalp brought that up. He is undergoing a lot of scrutiny for off the game activities. So stay cautioned on that. So if you're picking Ivan Tony, make sure to follow the club's latest updates. And if he's available, well and good. But I think it's too much of a risk to go near
correct.
Ivan Tony at
It's
this stage.
better to avoid. I mean, he
Yes,
had a good
there are
season.
there are more options as well. Yeah.
I think they have added another 30 or 40 counts, right? So it looks really really serious. He might be away even for this season. Half of the season he might miss.
Yeah.
There's strong possibility of a ban. So just adding, because we're talking Brentford, Ivan Tony a big no, at least to start with.
Would you go near Mbomo, Sankalp,
He looked
given
he looked good.
given if Ivan Tony is out?
I think he's an interesting prospect, but we'll have to look at the fixtures, right?
Yeah, the reason I ask this is because I'm one person who has burned my fingers a lot of times from the previous season.
Yeah. He has a good
no,
penchant
I
of
am not
hitting
going
those,
anywhere near him.
sidebars or top bars, right? He's got a good eye for those bars. But if he's playing as a OP, I think we will look at him at some point of time. But I don't know. I've also not looked at the fixtures, deeply. We just started doing that.
Yeah, yeah. So
But this
any
match,
particular interesting fixtures this week that you guys are looking forward to? Any particular
anyone looking
fixture?
at Kulu, Kulusevski?
Okay. Yeah, the first game. Okay.
Suresh is very happy. You got his favorite player first itself. So
Yeah, he was my favorite player,
he
at the
was
start of the
at
season.
least.
And then he kind of faded out. I'm in a similar
But
scenario once again, where he is most likely to start, and he might get a string of games, and there is a wildcard kind of a scenario for all of us. But I'm not going anywhere near Kulu. Let's see.
I think he got injured in the first half of the season, right? That's how he went out.
Right.
Spurs
Yeah.
look good with him. Spurs look good with him. Son is down with a fever, so I think it's mostly him and Kane starting up front. So would be a good player to start with, right? Maybe you can move out. I know we have spoken about Spurs fixtures not being the best, but someone good to have that player in the price bracket, right? And then move on to a Foden or Saka, depending on who's playing.
Right. Right. And Sankal, one question to you. So, what is going to be the impact of Gabriel Jesus losing out on Gabriel Jesus? So, is there going to be any is there going to be any major change that you expect with the way that you guys scope? Because despite his appeal returns, he has been very instrumental with the way how you guys play. Be it hogging the ball in the wide areas or off the ball movements or whatever it is. So Jesus has been a great part the way you guys have ran up to the top of the table. So
Yeah.
what do you expect or any impact or any players to watch out for?
I think it would be foolish to say, we won't get impacted. He was playing really well, like you said. He need not always end up with some returns, goals, or assists, but he was always instrumental in the way we played. I like Eddie a lot. I think he has similar qualities to what Jesus has, right? So I think gameplay wise, we'll retain, the way we are playing, but the quality of Eddie will never be, the quality of Jesus, right? So there will be some gap, and that's the reason I see that a lot of people have now started doubting Arsenal, or I see a lot of accounts saying, "Hey, let's not go there. I don't know how they will do." I feel the assets that we know will continue to do well, like assets like Martinelli, Saka, White. I don't see any changes. Even if the fixtures look slightly tricky, I'm fairly confident of our defense, right? So
Right.
attack, it's possible that you go with one rather than two, right? I mean,
Right.
depends. Being an Arsenal fan, I'll be slightly more optimistic, right? Because Eddie played really well towards the end of last season, and the attack is fairly similar, right? It's just that the system has become a bit more well oiled.
Mhm.
So I am slightly optimistic, but I see people who are slightly pessimistic and saying, "Hey, we have better options. We have better fixtures in other teams. Why not attack with that? And maybe we come back to Arsenal." Right? Either way, I think it's good.
Yeah, the reason I brought this up is that, when we were having like almost three Arsenal players pre-wild card, or even looking out, asking FPL to give a fourth option of Arsenal players, now I've seen multiple teams on Twitter where they have gone from three Arsenal players to not even a single Arsenal player. That was quite surprising. So I wanted to get an perspective from you from Arsenal.
One thing I've always seen when we have a wild card, popular wild card time, right? We always try to attack the fixtures, and when we discuss the fixtures, we'll see why things look slightly tricky for Arsenal, right? I think it's a bit reactionary thinking that suddenly we will go, from very good to very bad or to average just because one player missed out, however important he is, right? So I don't think zero Arsenal is the way, but I do feel that if someone is looking to attack, for example, right. We are below in the ranks, we want to change things out. I do feel it makes sense for you to try out something different. Again, personally, I feel that balance is important. One to two players is good. Defense, I am fairly confident will remain similar in nature. We were, I think, the second best defensive team after City and very close to City, right? So I think that will remain. Attack, I would advise people to keep one, right? For example, people who got Martinelli early, right? You have such a good price rise which has happened with that asset. Why miss out? Martinelli for me is someone that I'm not going to change, right? But someone like Saka who did not change a lot with the price, and that's where we are talking of options like Kulusevski. Maybe you go to somewhere else in the same price bracket, and it's easy for you to come back, right? That for me is a much better approach, at least when it comes to Arsenal.
So quickly, since
Right.
we are covering up this topic, there is one question, so I'm just going to pin it up straight away. Do we expect NKD to match the likes of Mitrovic or Wilson, or somewhat closer?
Uh, like I said, I'll be a bit more optimistic. I think yes, primarily because he's not an unknown entity. We have seen him play last, I think, 7, 8 game weeks, so which is a fairly decent sample, right? And the guy can score. He takes up good positions. So while he might not be an explosive scorer, right? I think he'll be fairly similar to Jesus, where he will take along, right? And given his price, I think it's a good price to take along with, right? So uh, in my team, I am trying to look at two such options in that price bracket, so things are easier for me. It's not like Martial or Mitrovic or Wilson or Eddie. It's just two of those three, right? So for me it's easier. When you ask me whether you go for one or two, right, then I think if you're looking at Mitrovic or Martial, I feel it makes sense to go with those players, right, and not start with Eddie, and maybe move on to Eddie if you see that spark remains. So I'm okay with people being skeptical of Eddie, but I do feel that returns might be fairly close to what we are thinking of from the other guys.
I'm completely in a similar approach as well. I probably want to start with Metro just in case if he screws up having an yellow card. Nketiah is my safety net going back there. I think if he's assured to get regular minutes, 70, 80 minutes week in, week out, I think it's a pretty good price, not to say no there, right? Patch him up with Martinelli plus Nketiah or Saka plus Nketiah. I think that's a pretty good combo to get, from an attacking team like Arsenal.
So when we started the season, we were like, you get a 8 million starting forward from Arsenal, you take it, right? Now you're getting 6.5 million starting forward from Arsenal, you take it, That's the approach that I have. Right, where you have seen a good team and you are getting a cheap asset, and he's going to start for sure. That we know. Maybe 3-4 weeks. If he doesn't do well, you will anyways move out, and even Arteta will try something different. But at least first 3 weeks, I expect him to start. So that's my thought. I would love to take it and see whether things work out well. But even if you don't, it's good to keep him at the back of your mind, someone to move back to.
Yes, so I think we've covered. This has become Arsenal segment for the last few minutes.
Other
We'll
fixtures,
quickly,
yeah.
yeah, we'll quickly run through the other fixtures and then look at the overall picture up till Game Week 23. So the other one of the big games would be Leicester against Newcastle. Most of us have listed defensive assets now in terms of Ward and maybe Castagne if you held on to him. And Newcastle, obviously, I don't need to say it's Pope, Trippier, Wilson, or Miguel Almiron. So these are probably the four players. Out of four, most of us have at least two. So it's pretty much that's one of the big games that, in terms of FPL wise, we need to keep an eye on. The Villa against Liverpool again. Most of the managers are going back to Salah, so that's a very important game to look. Obviously, Arsenal
I
West Ham
think
is one
with
keep it.
that game, I've seen many managers even picking Salah plus Darwin. So one interesting aspect I'm looking at it is we have Unai Emery now. He's got a extended period with the team. Of course, a couple of players would have been off to World Cup, but still he could have had a few of the core players to work on, experiment what he wants to implement and stuff and all that. So I think it is going to be a tricky game for Liverpool. Liverpool were not on their best run so far this season. They were not the Liverpool that we know from the past few years. So it's going to be a tricky game. I don't expect much of an explosive returns out of this game.
But Twitter has shown a lot of confidence. If you're on Twitter, you're like, okay, Liverpool is back
Yeah.
already. I mean, it feels
That's why
like you're
I'm
very.
surprised when I saw Salah plus Darwin and even people considering going back to TAA and Robertson. Of course, the historical returns are there.
Yeah,
Oh, there is no Emi Martinez.
exactly. I was going to touch upon it that that is one big thing, right? That it's not an Emmy thing, but at the same time, I think with Liverpool, it was not about the opposition; it was more about them sorting out the attack, right? Uh,
Exactly.
Arvin went to World Cup, didn't have a great World Cup, but he's come back early. Salah is the rested guy, so that's where I am a bit more inclined. Knowing that Salah is rested, he's gone back, he's seen the team. At the same time, you understand, coaches, good coaches, when they get time, right, to go back, study. I'm sure Klopp would have seen what is working, what is not working, and try to do something about it. Lot of transfer rumors when it comes to Liverpool midfield, right? There are names of Enzo, them, bidding or talking about Enzo. I also heard somewhere, McAllister might be looked at, and Jude Bellingham remains an, completely talked about topic. But I think Liverpool knows that midfield is an area where they need to talk, where they need to, add. If they do, obviously it's a different game play altogether. But till the point they have not done it, yeah, again, I'm similarly skeptical. I don't want to double up on Liverpool attack just yet. uh, but a lot of cases I have seen that they want to have that Darwin factor just in case they want to move to Kane, right? That makes sense. In my price point, I have not done that, but from a price point of view, he makes sense. But I'm not that confident about Darwin because he's again someone who's looked like Mbeumo, right? Hitting those crossbars, hitting those side bars, missing out chances, right? But he keeps getting those chances. That's the only thing, that's a huge pro for Darwin Nunes.
Yes, and even towards the end, that's the before the World Cup began, I was without Salah and went with Nunes. Kind of it helped here and there because even he was out for a game or two. Then Firmino played in his role and here and there. So there are a lot of managers who are doubling up on Liverpool's attack. That's with Salah and Nunes. So that's with that game. Next, obviously, we spoke about Arsenal. Chelsea, Bournemouth is again. I think Chelsea have been struggling a lot against Bournemouth also previously. Before few of their home games also didn't go as per plan in the last few seasons. Obviously, pre World Cup again, Chelsea's form was not great, and hopefully Potter has got time, to walk around with his players and get things back on track. And obviously, Reece James is back, which is a huge sigh of relief for them. I think even Chilwell may be back on track. And
Anyone
I think
looking at a
Mason
Chelsea
Mount missed a training session. I'm not sure how he was not part, so that's another update.
half strain? Calves strain. Anyone looking at a Chelsea attacker or a midfielder? A lot of interesting options there. Because we are talking about wildcard differentials. Chelsea has a lot of differentials. Right? Do you guys think of someone? Are you guys thinking of someone?
I've mentioned one name in the forwards list, but I'm not going anywhere from their offense.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
put
James, I'm
um,
a bit dicey on. I mean, obviously, we would love to have him, but I don't know how many games he starts. Potter really killed me pre-World Cup with his, defensive changes. I just don't want to get into that again. I just want to wait and watch. I know fixtures are good, but maybe 2-3 weeks. I won't jump at them before the double. I may go there, after the double if I see that they're continuing. Especially the City match would give us some idea about how good the team is, how consistently they are playing, etc.
so the next game obviously is United against Forest. We'll talk a bit later on that.
Okay.
Obviously, in terms of picking United assets in a longer run, so we'll rather spend time there. And obviously, the last game is Leeds against City, and I think pretty much everyone in the community has made up their mind on who are the three assets they're going to get from Man City, or rather, the two players. I think Cancelo and
Or
Haaland is
rather,
locked.
unchanged assets, if we have to
Yeah,
say.
yes.
Unchanged assets from our pre-World Cup or pre-World Cup team.
Anyone you think will go without Haaland as a captain?
I don't think so.
Nobody.
I mean, you could take couple of punts probably, but I think it has been hugely disappointing all this while, this whole season so far. Probably you can take a punt at some of the United boys probably. Uh, I wouldn't risk it that much. I would stick to the basics, go with the crowd, have a bit of differentials, and you can still make some ground.
Yeah, first week, just stick with what you know.
Exactly.
Experiments once you see these players coming back doing something, then you can start taking educated guesses. Now it's wild, completely wild. So just go with what you have, what you know.
True. True.
So right up on the screen we have the fixtures from game week 17 to game week 23. That's the doubles that are confirmed so far also included. This is the fixture ticker from FF Scout that we've got now. And right up we see City obviously at top. And we have few different teams right up like Southampton, Fulham,
Chelsea.
and Chelsea. So
Yeah,
any teams to target from here?
I wouldn't say teams, but there are a good bunch of teams who had managerial change. Only time will tell if it is going to have a positive or negative impact. But Southampton is one such team. Probably, what was the guy's name? Che Adams is one such striker. Probably, if you are wondering if you want an alternate or want to go differential outside of Metro or Martial or Enketia, similar to that, 6 to 7 million striker range, probably Che Adams could be one of the options. The kind of friendly games that they have played, he's been in a good rhythm that we have seen. But and the fixture wise also, it is reasonably good fixtures. Fulham,
No big
and
team
Nottingham.
till 23.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Nottingham and Everton. Everton has won only one game in the last five, if I'm not wrong, 5 or 6 games. So they are in a poor run. Nottingham Forest, we know they've been poor defensively as well. So probably that's an option to throw.
But Everton has been very good defensively. Just for us to remember again, we keep forgetting Everton has conceded less goals than United.
That middle portion, they were really good,
Start the
if
game.
I can recollect. You know,
They have
the
conceded
the
less goals than
last.
United has. Okay, and we are all jumping on United defensive.
I know, yeah, I shouldn't have picked that. But yeah, if you go back to the last 3 to 4 games, they conceded like Three goals to Leicester or Newcastle, if I can recollect it correctly. So they've been conceding, a lot of goals in some of the odd games. They have been tighter as well in defensively, but yeah.
Big
Right. Any other
silence all of a sudden.
teams? No, I was going to ask any other teams that has interest you guys. There's been a lot of okay, probably I'm going to prepone that United topic here. There've been a huge interest in United as is considering the first three game weeks particularly. That to 17 and 19, two juicy home fixtures. But after that is going to be a tricky City followed by Arsenal. So what are you guys planning? Do you guys want to take that initial three games and then probably shuffle it around, or do you want to? Are you guys looking out for a little longer run?
I mean, very, very good question. Aditya is the guy who's put Bruno's name, image in the poster. So I think we'll start with him.
Okay, you've put me right at the spot. So, in terms of United, I think some players have benefited a lot going in the World Cup and changing their form all of a sudden. We were saying that Rashford cannot play in the right, and he's been struggling and all. Rashford played in the World Cup for England at the right, and obviously he scored a goal yesterday or earlier today morning for us here. And Fernandes also looked good. Martial had one shot saved, and I think in terms of defense, I think Van Bissaka played the lows. I think he's back. I think he's back in Carrington, but he's not training. I think some rehab or some check is going on for him.
He had that little bit of hamstring related
Hamstring, yeah.
injury, yeah,
And
from the World Cup.
No Ronaldo.
thank you. I'm
Yeah,
done.
we are
We are
we are
extremely.
off the shackles, man. We're
I
good
mean,
to
like,
go from here on.
I would just quote Tenak because I heard somewhere him saying that that is in the past and we have to look ahead. So we look ahead now in the next three fixtures. We don't want to talk what has happened. Whatever has happened
Uncle,
has
now
happened
you
for
know
good.
the answer why Bruno was in the thumbnail.
no, I think I am extremely interested to see, how United assets do these 3 weeks. I am myself, thinking about doubling or tripling. That's the idea, right? I mean, one defense. I definitely want to have one defender. The guy with the 4 yellow cards, 4 or 3. I think 3 yellow cards.
Yellow
Saul,
cards.
because Diego Dallo is still injured, so it makes sense to start with Luke Shaw. And then Rashford, I think it's completely, pick and choose and just keep it in your team. Those two players I'm really really sure of. The third player that everyone is talking about is Martial. Is where I'm very 50-50. Again, in my mind, I want to wait and watch and see how he does, right? Because
Right.
if he comes instead of some like Mitrovic, who we know is a proven player, right? Even if he's sitting with 4 yellows, right? I am really interested to see Mitrovic against Southampton at home, right? And then he plays Leicester away, right? So sorry, that's a double game week, right? So 18 and 19 are looking so good for Mitrovic unless he misses out because of the yellow card thing, and that's the reason I'm little dicey on Marcel. But I think it's fair play to people who go with Marcel because he can score any match. He can give you very strong returns, and I think he'll be closely involved in the attack, something that United knows, right? So my only hope is he helps Rashford score more points, and but I'm still debating, 2 or 3.
He
I
will
don't
help
want.
Rashford score more points. Rashford will also help him score more points. So you need to pick who you want. So what
Yeah.
happens is with Martial, we had, if you notice, the fluidity is present in the front line, and even in the preseason was something that we observed. And as soon as Ronaldo came in between here and there, we
Right.
noticed there was a disjoint between the attack and the midfield, and the attack offense itself was not bridging. So with Martial in, that will make a difference. And someone, I think Anthony, I'm not sure if he's up to speed. Tenak will play him straight away. If not, then I think Garnacho is 4.3. If somebody wants to take a big punt for 4.3, you can go ahead with Garnacho. He might play Garnacho, Martial, and Rashford until he feels Anthony is fit enough to play, and then shift Rashford back the other way. So Martial is someone at the price from United who's nailed to start most of the games. I think is from a United perspective, yes, it's a good option for that price bracket. If not, you can go for Bruno, but Bruno is 9.8, and he will more or less, create chances here and there. He might play that assist to assister role and all rather than directly being involved. but the penalties picture
He
might
did one last
come
night,
again.
right? 3 assists.
Yeah, pre-assist to Van Bissaka. So
So
we'll
why
see
is it
what
not a
the.
poster? I mean, I expected Aditya to paint a really, really good picture about Bruno.
No, Bruno, see, the picture is
That's
very clear. See, you want to have him in your midfield, you can have him as Suresh
So
will
my
have in his
question would
draft, which
be,
we'll see later.
would you want a Rashford or Bruno, or would you want a Rashford and Bruno? I think Rashford is set in all of our teams, right? Ideally, right? So is it a Rashford plus Bruno for you?
so it
For
is.
me, in
If you
my
ask,
draft, it is Martial. I'm just revealing it straight away. It's Martial, just for the ease of splitting the
okay,
funds.
let me answer that because that's the combo I have currently with
Yeah.
with the draft. It is Bruno plus Rashford as things stand, but it could change again as Aditya's draft. It could be Rashford and Martial, depending upon how I end up by Monday. The reason I'm going Bruno plus Rashford is that I want to particularly on Bruno. There are a couple of things. One, he had a really good World Cup. He has come back with a lot of confidence. He has taken the club's armband whenever Maguire is not there. He is the go-to captain, and he is being the playmaker. The Ronaldo effect, where he was played a second fiddle, and everyone is going to play for adapting to Ronaldo and all that stuff. So this kind of pushes all that away and gives him some freedom. Still, he plays a little bit of deeper role. I'm not going to deny that, but there is a chance that the combination of Bruno, Martial, and Rashford. If you go back in years, a couple of years back, this combo is really good. I'm not saying Bruno is going to go back play in the left or in the central, but he is going to be the talisman alongside Eriksen. There's a good chance that he is creating a lot more chances and creating goals. Or on top of it, he is going to be on also on the pens as well, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so that is
So if
added
you have
effect.
three assets,
The
right?
other aspect is that I am just looking at this, short window of 2 to 3 game weeks, and then my idea is to jump on to, I can easily downgrade to. I'm leaving a third city option empty. Either I can downgrade it to the likes of Foden, or if I want to upgrade it to KDB via some other means, so that is a possibility as well. So I'm leaving that room, to migrate or upgrade or downgrade. So that's the idea.
I the same with you. Three United assets. Move one to somewhere else when it comes to that City Arsenal matches, or will you continue with the three? Because knowing you have your three players doing really well in the three matches, will you still drop them, or will you continue? Take a punt. Can you hear us, Aditya?
Yeah, I think the stream went down briefly. I think there's some tech problem. So
Okay.
I think all
So
of us lost our connections and we are back.
okay, I was just
There's some
asking if
tech
you
issue. I
have
don't know
three
what
assets.
went wrong.
I was just asking if you have three United assets and they're doing well in the first three matches. Do you drop them for that City Arsenal matches, or do you continue? What will be the plan for you?
I'll obviously continue if they're playing well. Why do you need to make changes if things are going well?
Perfect. Perfect.
Good.
Cool.
I think we pretty much covered the fixtures and prominent teams.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Should we move on to the next section, Aditya?
Yeah, so next we'll quickly cover up the players from each categories and we can elaborate a bit here and there if we need. So the first is obviously the goalkeepers that we need to target and we need to have. I think Ward is someone is locked in most of all our teams,
Yeah.
so we can scratch him out there. The other one is in case if Ward is not your first choice and if Ward is your bench keeper and like in my case, then we need to pick someone who pairs up with him. So I think one of the most best pairs is Ramsdale in terms of rotation wise. But the only worry for me, Ramsdale, is that I think White is 4.6 and Ramsdale is 4.9. So I'd rather spend it on White than on Ramsdale
Right.
is one thing
Yeah.
that is going in my head. So
Correct.
any other
Correct.
I think
keepers you
from a
guys fancy
goalkeeper
somewhere?
perspective, it is pretty easy. Pick and choose who has a double game week down the line. Goalkeeper is one slot where there's not going to be much of a rotation,
So
barring Kepa. We never know what is going to happen there.
Kepa if he's fit, I think he's first choice for Chelsea, we also are seeing reports where I think there is some contract standoff with Mendy. So I'm sure that would also play a factor. So Kepa might be starting, but we are missing one name here. Someone Suresh is very keen about.
I was just going to add that in the end once we are done with this conversation. So
Go
what
ahead.
I would suggest is, yeah, what I would suggest is if the probability of Brighton double game week or even
Oh,
triple game week
okay.
is going to happen, then Sanchez is definitely a wonderful option. He's been my go-to goalkeeper for many seasons now. So Kepa plus Sanchez would be an ideal combo if you have that little bit of extra cash, or else you have Kepa or Sanchez alongside of Danny Ward. That will be an ideal scenario.
He has done well as well. I think they have not considered a lot of goals. He has had 4 clean sheets, right, overall, Sanchez. So he's not been a bad asset. It's just that players like Ward and all have taken up all the limelight. But if you get additional fixtures from him, I think he comes out as a really serious target. I was just going back and checking. Am I able to accommodate him in my current draft? If not, what will I have to do to get him? But I think he's a very strong shout if the fixtures get confirmed at least.
All right.
Yes,
We'll move
so
on to the
we'll have to wait on
defenders.
that. Yes, 1 second. The slide will change now. So defenders, I think pretty much we'll have almost 4 to 5 of these names. We'll be just quickly going through these. Kanchi is pretty much nailed.
Think
Liverpool defense
you
is
have put it in a very apt manner. The first and the last are pretty much set. Cancelo, and I've seen people having both. Bruno and Patterson. I think that's 3 slots settled almost. If you ask me, if you want to go with 3 mainstream defenders and have some bench forwarders, I think that's pretty much set. You have to pick and choose your 2 other defenders.
It's kept here club wise, right, Aditya?
yeah,
Uh,
Oh, okay.
but still the pecking order is based on the price range also here and there. So
Good.
that's why
So,
even Suresh made sense when he spoke.
so
Right.
Liverpool defense, are we looking at? Do you guys want to start with them?
At least not me. For now, I just want to wait and watch. And it's given the circumstance, given the number of options we have in and around where we have to pick, it seems to be quite expensive now.
Yes, Liverpool defense is pretty much prominently wait and watch. It's just for us to keep an eye on if things go back to the way Liverpool offensively they were playing in terms of their fullbacks. I mean, they should pretty much come back in form, but let's wait. So that the Trent's additional fund is allowing us to spread it elsewhere, and now we're able to get a third forward, a better fifth midfielder. So that's enabling that all those other things. So pretty much people will find it difficult to go back to Trent if they don't get him now. So I think that is just a chance now or a wild card, which anyways we'll be getting in some time. Trippier, Fabian Church, Sven Botman. I think pretty much people will have at least one out of these three, and we don't need to speak a lot. I think those who don't have Pope and want a Newcastle player, I think Botman in terms of price would be better, right? In terms of you'd be saving additional funds.
4.4. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's the best 4.4 million guy there in FPL, app currently. If you're looking for a player in that price range, but I mean, you'll be doubling up on Newcastle, but it's not a bad thing. I think Newcastle have shown that they're a really strong defense. It's a long-term pick, right? You want to pick someone and keep that guy. I think Botman is fairly good guy. It's just that you have to be, you have to be able to play him. My only issue with Botman is I had him like most of the first half. I just could not get myself to play, both the defenders. He was the guy first in bench and he kept amassing points, clean sheet after clean sheet. It hurts a lot seeing that, but I think he's the best guy in that price
I didn't realize I was speaking on mute so far. So for
range.
me, it is like if you have the money or make some room to upgrade it to Trippier if one doesn't have.
Trippier definitely.
Trippier has been such a good asset. It is almost like I'm playing only with 10 players. It's that kind of a scenario. Trippier is so much owned. His points is not going to make any difference if you own him, but if you don't have him, that's going to, cause a wreck.
It's for me. It's Trippier over Cancelo even. You start with
Yeah,
Trippier, and that's the second name,
he
right?
has been so consistent. Yeah, definitely.
The Trippier is taken Trent's role this time, so he's like the first choice right in our books so far.
Chelsea boys,
So
anyone looking
Chelsea boys, I'm not convinced again.
at Reece
I'm
James?
I'm kind of I currently have Reece James on my draft, but I'm, as you told, still 50-50 on that. It is only that double game week factor,
My
kind of
my
making
only
me.
issue with that double game week, right? It looks so good, but there's one match against City, one match which is against a easy team. My only issue is Potter might play James against City and bench him for the
City
other
and
match.
bench him, yeah. That's a
I'm
possibility.
very difficult to trust Potter. That's my only issue with Reece James. And again, knowing that he has come back after a long time, it is a sensible move also from the coach. I'll not blame Potter, if he actually does that, right?
True.
So, and those 50th, 55th minute sub outs from Potter, oh, that hurts so much.
The
All
next
right,
is
I
the
think,
Arsenal boys, right? The next in the list, I think for value wise, it is Ben White straight away. There is no doubt there.
yeah, it is Ben White definitely, and
I've seen
between.
someone mention Gabriel as well. Good choice, but I think looking at the fixtures, he's someone I would go a bit later. Right now, I would just go with the value pick, Ben White.
Exactly.
Next is the United two defenders, Dalot and Shaw. So more or less, I went with Shaw. Although
Same.
Dalot is a bonus point magnet whenever United keep a clean sheet or not, he's someone who is somehow managing to get a lot of BPS, and that's a good
Any
sign.
news about his injury? When will
Um,
he come back,
We
etc.?
I think
should
he
be
might
hearing
miss.
something tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, I think he might miss the game on Monday, but then I think he should be back. So if you want to get in Dalot and keep him on the bench, adjust your team for a week, it is fine. Or you can go with Shaw. It's pretty
Right.
much up to our decisions. Next is Romain Perrault from Southampton. A couple of goals in a row. That's why I put up his name, and also Southampton's fixtures look good. Obviously, you're not going to rely anything defensively, but it's just a pick from the price bracket of I think he's 4.4. I think Romain Perrault,
And they're
and
looking to play in a 3-5-2, right? So he plays as a wing back, fairly attacking player, right? So you pick him because you hope that like FPL, right? He gives you some points there, and again they have a fairly strong run. Like we saw up to 23, there's just no big team to play. So good choice again, someone you want to pick, right? Punty.
yes, last I think is the fodder defenders or the cheap players who will pretty much help us in need whenever we need one pointers. I think from here, I think Patterson is the best option rather than Bueno. I think because Johnny and Aithnuri are back almost. I think Aithnuri is definitely playing. He's come back from the bench or something. So we don't know whether Hugo's place is definitely nailed or not. So in that case, I think Patterson is better than most of the Neko Williams that we have at this point. So that's it from defenders. I think we can quickly run
Jump.
to midfielders and pretty much again we have most of us have picked our five players and that will be there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think five in the middle is the way to go. Right, there are a lot of
Yeah.
options. Midfield seems the best, place at least to get you points. Right.
I think from our midfielders, the number of targets that we have here, I think we have pretty much discussed about the United or the City guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask you guys, is there any differentials that you guys are looking at, in the midfield slot? We might have a premium alongside a Rashford, Martinelli. This is kind of being the structure that I've commonly seen. But if you want to throw or take punt on a couple of differentials, who would it be?
So 8 million is the price bracket which I feel can has the potential to Punty. Kolu and Madison I think are two very good players that we are currently overlooking. And if you're looking for a differential move, I would love to go to one of these two players because these are good players, right? These are not players that you hope become good. They are actually good players. And sometimes they'll have good fixtures, sometimes they might not, but they are differential. They are fairly strong differences to go with. Right? Even in bad fixtures, good players gives you points, right? So these are the two players I am really looking at. I don't have the place for a 8 million guy currently, but if I move Definitely I'll try to get one of these guys because I'm also chasing ranks.
Yes, I think
Right.
Fernandez' ownership is pretty low, so that's one in terms of he's not 8 million, but in terms of differential, obviously we have Kulu is around 5% and Madison is roughly about 11% or here and there. So
Oh.
these are the pretty much I think, and Rodrigo's I think around 8% again from Leeds. It's a differential shout here and there, but I think most of us will have
Almiron,
locked
are you
in
guys
Salah.
starting with Almiron?
No.
No,
No, no. So yeah, I've decided to get him. I've just not got him the entire first half, and I mean he's leading the midfielders bracket currently, right? So I just have to respect. I think I have to respect that form. I think he scored in one of the friendlies. Is looking good, and still cheaper. Newcastle are fairly strong in the attack as well. I was just looking at the metrics. I think they're fourth best attacking metrics, right? So I've decided to go with him. I mean, why? Just let the man play. He's on form, he's on song. But midfield is the way to go, right? Have 2 to 3 strong players and 1 to 2 differences like this. You never know. Things might change for you FPL wise.
yes, I will quickly run to this list before I go to that. If Almiron starts blanking, right, we all know whom to blame. So please note down Sankalp. If he starts blanking, please inform Sankalp that he has jinxed him. So
Yeah.
pretty much midfielders to target. Salah is going in most of her squads. If not, then Nunes might be the case. KDB is again an option in terms of the premium draft that we'll see later.
I'm
Foden,
on a regret spree. So, players I did not have and I regret KDB, Almiron. Let me get them first.
okay, I will not get KDB and Almiron.
Uh,
Anyways, Foden is a little bit risky pick because we don't know Pep what he's going to do. You can't trust him at all. Anthony is a differential again here and there. Paddison and Barnes, I think after Gameweek 20 onwards, Leicester's run of games improves, so that's players to pick there. Kulusevski from Spurs. Richarlison is out injured with a hamstring injury, so Kulu is pretty much safe to play in that role. I think from Arsenal it is Martinelli is one, then it is the other two, Saka and Odegaard, because I think he will play up front, is what we're seeing in training and all. So
One
he'll be
thing I
given
think
the
Simi has requested us to rate that 8 million bracket right
yeah,
before we
yeah,
close
we'll,
up.
we'll come to that. Yeah, 8 million. And then Trossard is, if we get any info on the double and triple later,
Yeah.
Rodrigo is pretty much based on the price bracket. Almiron is pretty much the same, and Pereira is your fifth fodder midfield option. So, yeah, guys, we need to rank the 8 million midfielders. So, who are your top three picks?
Suresh?
I think I'll go Saka as my first priority. Saka, Madison, Kulusevski. Yeah, I think pretty much that would be
No
the
further.
order.
No further.
Foden, yeah, I totally forgot Foden. Okay, in that case, yeah, Saka, Foden, Madison, Kulusevski.
Okay. Long term picks, right?
Yeah, long-term picks.
Okay. Aditya, for you?
So I think Foden is 8.3, right? He's not 8 exactly.
I
So
mean,
we are
in that.
putting a leeway either other. So yeah, I think in terms of nailness, Saka is one because we know he will play. Foden is a bit risky, so he'll go to two, and I will put Kulu 3 and Madison 4. I'm not sure whether that's the same order, but that's what I feel at this point.
I are fairly similar. I think long term, I'm pretty much there with Suresh. I'll go with Saka, Forden, Kulu, and then I'll go Kulu and then Madison rather than Madison Kulu because I feel Kulusevski when injury free, he will give higher returns. But short term wise, I think it's good to start with Kulu and then Madison. And Saka, I think normally once he returns from internationals, he starts a bit slower and then he picks up that pace. That's what we saw in the Euros as well. So I feel it's easier to start with these two guys and then move to the other two. Foden is the guy now I'm very skeptical primarily because of that benching spree from Pep. I just don't want to take the risk. Anyone punting on Mahrez? I'm seeing a couple of Mahrez tweets here and there.
No,
No,
I'm not.
No way.
Nobody. I'm
no.
happy with
No
Haaland and
way.
Cancelo. I'm not going
I'll
to
play
get punted.
Almiron all the way. I'll not go for Mahrez. No way.
So I
Cool.
think we're done with the midfielders.
Yeah, yeah.
Quickly with some of forwards, and I think again it's pretty
That's
much dead set.
Only punts that I see. How was anyone thinking of? I was thinking of him, not to start with, but just to keep it in my brain. Like, hey, just remember this guy, right?
That has become a tricky slot for them. They have a bunch of options which they can try and play around with. They have Kai, they have Sterling, they have
Okay.
Aubameyang. So they could play around with options, change a little bit about the formation, and that's a very risky slot. If at all, if I'm going for a Chelsea attacker, I think it would be Mount, but not at the forwards category.
In my mind, that is the best front three that Potter can play with. Kai Havertz as a false nine, Oba and Sterling from two wings, right? I feel like that's the best position for these guys as well, and they will click. So if he moves to something similar, right, I'll keep a note of these guys. All three are very good players, right? Havertz obviously a bit less so, but Sterling and Oba are known FPL assets. I'll keep a track of them, but unless you're a Chelsea fan, I don't think you should start with these guys. Just keep a note of these guys. If you see them clicking, jump around because they have good fixtures. If not, it's okay. I mean, it's too punty at the moment.
Yes, and Chelsea also have Pulisic and ZH. So I don't know
Yeah, yeah.
how they are not playing in terms of.
Anyone targeting Sam Greenwood?
Gone are those days. I'm playing a structure of 4-3-4, so I think I prefer I'm going to mostly stick with 4-3-4. Sorry, 3-4-3.
Like, what is this new formation now?
4-3-4. He's got an extra pair on us.
Yes, some
Yeah,
blue
if
has
you
chip.
give me an option, I'll take that.
He has that FIFA chip in FPL now. The 12th man, additional man.
Oh my God.
I forgot to use that chip, man. In the finals, I realized
Even
that okay, I
I.
have that chip, and I use the chip where you can captain your best asset.
Glad,
I want that.
glad I didn't go anywhere near World Cup
I
fantasy.
want that chip in FPL, right? Where whoever is the best, scoring player will become a captain that game week. That
Oh
feels so
wow.
good. And then that's a lovely. I usually tend to fell down on Mbappe, right? You have a big mega double game week. I would use that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
So I think in terms of forwards to target, Haaland is pretty much set. The next two options are pretty much with Mitrovic for the sake of double, and then you have Wilson, or you go with Martial and Wilson, or you go with Mitrovic and
Yeah,
Che
I think
Adams.
it immediately drops to that, 6 to 7 million category. I don't think there is any risk worth taking, going into the likes of the 8 to 9 million category. There's not really much exciting options. Darwin, Firmino, I've seen in a couple of drafts, but I don't have much confidence in them. Harry Kane it's a bit too expensive, if you want to have the likes of Haaland, KDB or Salah and stuff. So premium is still, tearing down your team. I think it's pretty much goes without a saying. The forwards is the only slot. It picks by themselves pretty easily.
Cat. Let's
So
go.
next we'll look on to the template draft that Sankalp made. So quickly you can walk us through this one.
Yeah, so this is the Twitter template, right? We never know how actually people are playing. There will be a lot of managers who don't go to Twitter, who just play with their own mind. But on Twitter, I have seen Kepa and Ward, as the goalkeepers, White, Patterson, Cancelo, James, and Trippier as the defenders. Five, I think there are four very good choices, and followed by Patterson, who, if starts, is I think the best 4 million asset. In the midfield, we have Martinelli, Salah, Rashford, Almiron, followed with Andrea Pereira, right? Your five midfielders, and then you have Darwin Nunes, Haaland, and Mitrovic. I think it's a fairly strong team. I mean, I'm not even looking at the fixtures. I feel these are good choices. I'm a bit skeptical personally about Nunes, but again, he's playing for Liverpool, right? So, good team to start with. Very difficult to pick holes in it, and I've seen all the good managers going with a draft like this. I personally am not thinking of going there, but I don't see any reason not to. Right? Any of you guys are closer to this draft?
Mm, Barring a few changes, yeah. I mean, somewhere we almost are similar to this, except for a few slots. Yeah. as I told,
Yes,
no,
pretty
no
much we have the
Nunes for me.
skeleton, right? The goalkeeper,
If
the
you
defender,
just
the midfielder.
skip to the next slides, and we will see how close we are.
Yeah.
Oh,
So first we quickly go to Sankalp's draft.
yeah, it's a wild draft for me. I'm not even seeing my rank. I am that below. I don't want to see that rank. Right. I don't know how many digits it is. I've stopped counting. So my this draft is like I said, it's a regret draft, right? The players that I regret not having. So Rashford, De Bruyne, Almiron. These are the players I regret not having. So I have them. I also wanted to have a United defender. Now I have someone like Saw. I wanted Dallo, but he's injured. Why would I take a risk? I have Saw. One guy I'm missing out on is Cancelo. Right. I am also going on a very
I was
cheap
I was
from the
about to ask.
yeah. I mean, I'm on I'm on a premium mode, right? I have Salah, Rashford, De Bruyne. I could have got Cancelo in as well, but then I don't have that third midfielder slot, and the defensive options are like completely, I think, more fodder. So here I have much more balanced team. So that's the reason I'm missing out a Cancelo. My only thought is if I'm dropping someone like De Bruyne or Salah, depending on the game week, then maybe I can get him at any point of time within two moves. But it's a 3-5-2 for me, right? Three defenders, Trippier, Saw, and Ben White. Botman on the bench, as always, haunting me. And then I have five midfielders who I'll be very, very, very afraid of dropping. Salah, Rashford, Almiron, Martinelli, and KDB. Who do you drop, right? You just play them every week. And Haaland is there at the forward. I have two forwards. Eddie is there. I'm slightly thinking about Undav, that guy from Brighton. If he plays, he's my backup for Eddie. At the same time, I have Mitrovic in my team currently, but I'm also thinking about Martial, like I said earlier. So those are the two positions that I'm thinking of. But 3-5-2 is the position, formation that I'm going with. I'm dropping Cancelo at least to begin with. Let's see how things go.
Well, next is Suresh's draft. Pretty much poster draft.
Yeah, the couple of, almost close to the template, just thrown in a bit of differentials over there. The standout names here is Fernandez and Wilson. So Fernandez definitely, for the obvious reasons that I've told, that is one of the main reasons I wanted to include him. Wilson is someone, I had a love-hate relationship with Wilson. So I'm just waiting to understand how fit he is, how good he is going to get going. So that's something which is going to be interesting to watch. Else, I have to flip back to someone like Nketiah or Martial. Then I have to forgo Fernandez as well. So these two slots, it depends on Wilson's fitness. So I just want to play around with that slot. They have a pretty sorry.
I think it's fairly closer to the template, but I see there are three decisions that you have made. Basically, you have turned Almiron to a Bruno, which is fairly strong, right? You have turned down Darwin Nunes to a Wilson, and that third white slot, that Ben White slot as a Kusi fourth defender, you have made him
Yeah,
Bruno, right? That's the three decisions that you have taken.
exactly. So that's pretty much where I am. But this is done with a couple of sacrifices as well. The goalkeeper combination is Ward and Everson. Literally there is no way around that. Even if you think you want to play around, and there is no balance as well. There's no funds left in the bank with this
Oh,
particular draft. So I'm just fiddling around, Wilson's fitness news as well as Fernandez position. Probably if I have to change that around, probably it'll give a more overall structure to the team.
will you want a triple United attack? Take Wilson to a Martial,
No,
and you
no,
have money in the bank.
no.
Three United.
I'm happy with two, at least to begin with. It'll be either Fernandez, or Martial. Rashford is going to be there for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, but definitely two attack. That's for almost sure.
Aditya?
Yeah, so
Aditya, your
next
team.
is my current draft. I've only made 5 changes based on my game week 16 team. Not a lot of changes. Just removed Darwin
I'm
and I
happy to
brought
see
back
Wilson,
Italy.
man.
It's just a
At
play
least
around the
gives
structure.
me, yeah,
He's not
irrespective of whatever,
consistent.
irrespective of why you have him, it gives a little bit of confidence to me.
Yeah, I just have him because I need someone. That's it.
But I think it's a
Yes.
fairly good team. Again, fairly strong team. He has that 8 million guy that we are missing at least, right? So he has Kulusevski there and
Nice. Yeah.
Wilson and Martial. He has Martial at least, right? So Martial, Rashford, and Shaw. He has that trio united. So good team. I think this is the time of the year where all your teams look good, right? You feel happy about them.
Everything is good. Once the game week is done, you
Yeah.
look at the score and like, yeah, I should have picked him.
Yeah.
I
Why
got
is
the
it
wrong guy.
47
Do
points?
do any of you remember your Game Week 16 score?
No.
No.
Without saying, mine was
It's
29.
it's like it's like it's like the new season has begun, right? Nobody even cares.
Oh my God.
I'll
20.
never 29 it was. I'll never forget.
I like
Yeah,
54.
which score?
So I
Game week
feel
16, you mean?
Game Week 16.
I played
You
Word
know,
and I had 11 points from Word and 54 overall. Top, top.
you won't believe there's only two players who was returned. One is Foden, who has scored a goal, and Trippier with a clean sheet. That's it. Literally two people.
Yeah. I
And
got
I can
saved
see,
because of Darwin and Kane. I ended up on 66, so
uh,
that was the
Wow,
difference.
I
I
can
don't
that's
even
see,
more than
remember I
double.
had them.
I can see Botman 7 pointer on bench again. While I played Cancelo and Perisic for one pointer, right? Kane I had and I had him as vice captain. Smalling it, but good. I think I don't want to look at it again. I mean that's negative,
Yeah,
right?
it's done. It's done. Let's look at game week
With
17.
my team, I'm expecting now 60s and 70s. I cannot look at those 50s and 40s.
And what is your overall ranks currently? And what is going to be your
I'm not.
expectation?
You have to go and
No,
find
no,
out.
just the reason I ask, don't worry, I'm in 2.3 million. So
I'm
don't
sure I
don't
would
you
be
worry.
below you. I'm sure I would still be below you.
No, the reason I ask is what is going to be your realistic expectation? From here on, we are always almost in the midway. So what's going to be your expectations? Where do you want to finish, or where do you see yourself finishing?
See, if you are outside 2 million by now, which I'm pretty sure I am, I have not seen my rank, but I know I'm there somewhere. Right. If you're there in
I
2,
just checked.
2.5,
You're 2.9.
okay, I'm 3 million, right? Let's go with 3. So 3 million, then what can be my expectation, right? It would be getting into that 100 to 200K, right? It would be the best case scenario, right? It would be a dream run. All right, but I'm just not going to look at rank. I think for another 5 6 weeks. If I'm playing well, then I'm going to go back and check. Other than that, I think the season is done and dusted. That's the reason I'm just going to have fun, right? Look at the players that I don't have. I want to have them. Bring them in. I'm going to play the safe captaincy thing, but everything else, I have a at least I can have a bit of fun. So
Yes, I think that's a
what's
good
your target?
approach. I would say just don't look at your over now. We'll look at it in game week 37, 38, and just see where it
Somewhere
goes.
in the 30s,
So,
right? If you're playing well, you go back and check, hey, where did I reach? If you're not playing well,
yeah,
what's right?
yeah.
But what's the target, Suresh? Where do you go from 2.3?
Oh, I mean, my expectation is similar to yours. Probably finish under the 100K mark. That is something, uh, the elusive mark has always been that 10K. But, given the base has increased, the number of informed managers have increased, I think that base has now gone into 100K. Anything, if you finish under your top 100K, that's as equal as a top 10K finish a couple of years ago. So I think that's going to be the target, but definitely a very tall one, as you told, from here on. Let's see, hope for the best. And even I'm going to just have fun from here on. There's no point of, just looking at ranks week in, week out, chasing only that. Not going to make any difference.
Take players you believe in. You want those players to do well, right? Go Triple United. Who cares, right? And have
Yeah,
fun. Go Triple
it
United.
works.
Attack
It
man. Who's
works.
talking?
I told I'll take risk, not at a suicidal effect.
I mean, the fixtures are there for the thing, right? This is the. I
I
think
mean,
these
yeah,
are the times.
definitely the fixtures are there, but again, you have to make exit routes as well, right? It's not just one particular transfer, so you have to make sure. Already, Bruno is one such player that I have. Game week 20, I have to look for options to exit and move on to other players. So I don't want to get into positions where I had booked transfers already for a whole bunch of players.
Kind makes sense. Okay,
Yes.
so question.
I will
Sankalp.
not disclose my overall. Otherwise,
I have to go back and check now.
so I'll just quickly say mine is around 826K or something, which is
Ooh, okay. So
okay, but
Oh wow.
what's the target then?
we have
I
to
think
grind. We still have a long way to go. That's what
so.
it
From
no,
3 million, we are talking about 100Ks, right? That's the target we are going with. 820K. What's your target?
my target is to just finish somewhere decent. That's it. Because in a split week, you will go from here to there. It's not going to make any
Aditya is being
difference.
humble. I think he's like 20K. He doesn't want to say 20K to offend us. He's like, you
No,
guys
I
keep
will
going.
not finish 20K. No, I know that.
10K.
We'll see later. It should be a proper spot. That's it. Somewhere which is enough.
No,
I will not.
that's having targets is one way or the other good. At least you know where you're headed, or there's some sort of motivation to go. Let's see. I have something to protect, but I don't know if I can make it. I've been finishing under 30K for the last 5 seasons. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. No way I'm doing that this season.
I cannot chase my last season rank. It's not doable. It's done.
Yeah, it's quite
It's
tough from here on.
done. It's done. It's impossible.
I will prefer
All
answering
right.
questions from the chat now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the first we'll go scroll down to whatever we get new. Shaw or Walker and Mount, Madison, Saka or Cancelo and Almiron with no money in the bank. I think it's pretty straightforward at this point.
Start with Cancer and Almiron, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is easy. Leave out Walker. You know,
Leave out
Walker, we
Walker.
don't know. Pep will play Akanji
there
all of a
is
sudden
not even
there.
it's not even an option.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I'm not
out
sure.
of Madison, Mount, Saka, I think you go with Saka to begin with. If you try and understand the way Chelsea plays, probably Mount. You can get back to Mount as always.
Yeah.
So this
Any
is the
interest in Mount?
pre-question to that. Any interest in Mount, and since he has a double and then switch him to Trossard,
So
who has a
double,
double
he
in
also
21,
plays
then
City, right? My only issue with the double is it's one match is against City, right? So you don't expect a lot. Maybe he scores one, but then it's not a lot of points, right? I don't want to get sucked into Mount primarily because there are better players, but I don't think it's a bad punt either. If whenever Mount scores, it's against bad teams. It's against the lower ranked teams, and now they are going to play those matches. If Tuchel system forms and they play well, I think Mount is a good pick. I don't start with it, but I'm okay with going there a week down the line. If I suddenly see Tuchel's team playing well, right?
you mean Potter, right?
Sorry, but yeah. I mean, Potter's team
I
playing
was
well.
confused when is Tuchel back in job.
Yeah.
anyways,
Correct.
yeah.
Completely missed.
Yeah, Mount basically he will haul in particular. He'll just go berserk in a game, double digit, and then he'll start giving you the single digits. So that's one thing. But yeah, the fixtures look good. If he's fit, we need to wait and see what we get more info on that. And we scroll up and see for more. And I think we did cover this. We just quickly touch on upon 8 million midfielders option.
For 2 to 3 game weeks, I would start with Kulusevski. I think Madison has good fixtures from 21, if I remember well. But it's not the first fixtures; it's the fixtures after 2 3 game weeks, right? So the
Yeah,
first two
it is game week 18. They have a bit of tricky fixture, but otherwise they have a decent
19
run, I guess.
onwards.
From 19 onwards, it is pretty much
Yeah.
good. Like they play Fulham, Forest, Brighton. So
Perfect. So first 2 3 maybe start with someone else and maybe move to Madison as a punty guy. I think he's a fairly strong asset. You can move to him whenever they have good fixtures. He will do well. He is carrying the team.
yeah, next one is I think
I would, even as an Arsenal fan, I would say, Rashford seems like the guy to start with in your team.
yes. I mean, if you have Martinelli to cover Arsenal, I think pretty much you can go with Triple United just to see whether you get the returns. I think it's time to attack at this point. And let's scroll up and see. I think Chelsea we did speak, and the rest all of the top questions we did cover. If Cancelo is in, if you need to print it. This is a big if.
If Cancelo isn't returning. Sorry, I missed the question. What is the question again?
So if Cancelo isn't returning, is Trent or Robertson also still?
Possibility. I think it's a good way to keep that price point, right? Robertson looked, someone who was playing attacking, but you think of it purely as a price point. Cancelo comes back in a week or two, so that's the way you start with, right? I'm not fairly confident about the clean sheets still yet, but that is the only reason I would be okay with it. Like, okay, let's hope they get a clean sheet, and the moment Cancelo is back, I can move there.
Yes, more or less pretty much I agree with that. I think we're done with questions. There's one with an entire team that is put up for us.
Okay,
Uh, any changes?
keep the
I think
Cancelo
there's
cash
few
right.
typos here and there.
Uh,
Raya is someone who I would doubt because even I have Raya at the moment, and the
yeah,
fixtures are not that great.
no.
Although
Uh,
defensively he has given a lot of points, but that's the thing.
yeah, I had Raya as well, gave me good points, but I think not the player to start with. Neko Williams again. I don't think you should start with Neko Williams. We have players like Patterson. Bueno also is looking good for a short term, right? Uh, I think they got Aurier right in Neko's position as a backup, and both of them started competing. So we don't know how things start, and Nottingham has not looked well in defense. So Neko Williams is not someone I would start with. Raya is not someone I would start with, right? Other than that, I think more or less team looks good, right? Martial, Haaland, Mitrovic, fairly good.
Yeah, the midfield has triple Arsenal, I think. Sorry, double Arsenal. So that
Sa-
is what I might remove one. I think I might remove Saka and get somebody else, maybe a Rashford or a Kulu. So I think what I would say is that check out the blog. The description has the link. There are a few drafts with pros and cons to go through it, and you can structure it.
There are some questions from Insta for us, right? I
We
can,
have very few of them,
yeah,
but I think we have pretty much covered all of them in our segments.
okay,
So we don't have it on screen at the moment. I just have it on my phone here.
yeah, yeah.
One is Salah too much of a risk if you don't have him?
Uh, I've seen people covering Salah with a Nunes. I'm not that confident, right? People going KDB and Nunes. It's a fair thing to start with, but I'm not that confident of Nunes covering Salah. But if you're going with KDB, I think is a good fit because City has those double fixtures coming, right? But ideally, given that fact that he's rested, well rested, I would always say that start with someone like Salah, then you can move out, right? That's a uh, you know non-risky thing to do. I personally am going with both Salah and KDB. I think that's the way I am going. But my recommendation is best thing is to start with him and then move out to someone like KDB. But if you are going with KDB and Nunes, I think it's a decent. There's risk to it, but it's not a lot of risk.
Yeah, that's one. And then Garnacho to consider. Let's say yes, you can consider for that price bracket of 4.3. There's nothing wrong. But don't be surprised if he loses his place eventually. But I think Tenak will prefer him at the start. Nketiah, we did cover up. Martinelli and Nketiah, they are all good options to consider. There's another one with Perrault, Cash or Estupinan, which defender should be a priority pick. I think we all agreed Perrault is better based on the fixtures and what he offers in the play style.
Yeah,
Kansi or Trent as a differentiator. I think Kansi is pretty much the nailed pick.
yeah,
Trent is someone we'll see wait and watch. And captain, I think we all know who's going to be the captain for this game week.
yeah. I think start with Haaland at least for the first game week. Then you can make your choices down the line, right?
Yes, I'll pretty much agree to that. And with that, I think we are done for this episode. We have actually overshot the time pretty much. We wanted to keep it under an hour or at least 60 minutes, but we're pretty much closer to 80 minutes now at this point. So thank you all for joining, those who took time to join and listen. Thanks a lot. Please do subscribe to the channel, drop a like so that the YouTube algorithm works in our favor at least. And thank you, Sankalp, for taking time and joining. And Suresh dropped off. office meet, so we had to rush. And yeah, we'll see you all before game week 18. That's
Yeah.
the weekend, so we'll have pretty much time. And then we'll have a short turnaround between 18 and 19. So we'll see how we can put up the content for that. And do check out the blog, drop us a rating on Spotify and other audio platforms. And yeah, uh, stay
Best
safe
wishes to
because
everyone.
we are seeing different cases of COVID again going up. So just everyone please stay safe. And
Just, I think Merry Christmas to everyone, right? And best wishes
yes,
for the upcoming Happy New Year, right? I hope you guys have a good start FPL wise, and enjoy the rest of the season.
yes, season greetings to all. And yeah, plan your squads wisely, and we'll see all how Game Week 17 actually turns up to go later. Okay, guys.